I'm Dante. I run Dante Sports Data, where we find the most consistent players and teams across all sports every single day. Today we have an important one. How much should you bet per game? I'm going to go over a simple bankroll system that you can actually follow, and it's easy to understand. So what's your bankroll? So bankroll is money that you can lose without touching your rent, your food, your bills, your basic necessities. This is money that you can lose. Nothing is guaranteed when it comes to sports betting. Always only be playing with money you can afford to lose. This can be a fixed pool for a season, a month. It's better probably not to do monthly. This is definitely not your whole bank account, but you want to have a set amount. Some people like to do per season. Some they'll just put in an initial amount, but you want to start, with money that you can lose. So let's say that you decide to set aside $500 and you're going to have that your starting bankroll. It can be less than this. It does not have to be $500. It can be $100. It can be $10. The same concept that I'm going to go over applies to all. So you're going to want to pick what's called a unit size. And so if you hear people talking about units, they're talking about their unit size. So this is between 1 and 3% of your bankroll. You can go up to 5%. It's a little riskier the higher percentage unit size that you have, but you could go up to 5%. I definitely want to go higher than 5, but generally 1 to 3% is safer. So if you had a $500 bankroll, a unit size at 1% would be $5. If you want to do 2%, it'd be $10. 3% be $15. If you want to be riskier and go 5%, be $25. So once we determine our unit size, now how many units per game, and I'll show you the secret recipe here in a minute, but normal plays that you're going to play, just a normal bet, whether it be a spread that you're going to play or something around even odds, around plus 100 odds, where if you were to put, for example, $10 back or $10 in, you're going to get around $10, a little more, a little less. That determines how many units I'm going to play. So if it's a straight bet, for example, like that, I'm going to place 1 unit generally on that bet. Now, there are some times when I'll place a half unit. For example, we just had the All-Star game. Something like that. All-Star games are less predictable. Players haven't played together before. It's more based on the vibe. And so it's a little riskier. So I'll put like a half unit or maybe less on that if I want to even bet it at all. But if something like that, that's when I'll do a half unit. Or for example, the odds are plus 250 or plus 200, I might put a half unit. So usually when I'm betting to win back around a unit, maybe a little more, maybe a little less. Now the stronger plays, these are much more rare, and that's where it's a 2-unit bet, and that's usually the max that you should put out on a single bet. So I do these sometimes inside Dante's Data VIP. We've done only about 4 or so this NBA season, 4-0, maybe 5-0. I think we've ran 4 or 5. I know we're at least have ran 4, and we've won them all. So this is very, very rare, and a lot of times these aren't going to be plus 200 odds bets. We don't want to do that. We want to stay with our units. If I'm going to place a parlay, so if you're playing plays that are, let's say, plus 1,000 odds, you're probably only going to want to put down maybe a 1/10 of a unit, 1/15 of a unit. You're not going to want to necessarily put one whole unit on a parlay like that, because parlays can be risky, especially if you're adding 8-10 leg parlays. They're more than likely not going to hit, so you have to prepare that way and use better bankroll management. If you're not placing smaller unit sizes on those, it's not the best recipe for success, and I'll leave some videos that can help you with that at the end of this one on putting together parlays. And no 5 to 10 unit nukes. I see that sometimes on social media where someone will put 5 or 10 units on a single play. You should never put that much on a single individual play. But hey, some people do it, and that's their style. And now the recipe to make this all work, we want to use the same size whether we're winning or losing. We don't want to adjust our unit size. So let's say we lose a play and then you try to do a 2-unit play next that same night just to make up for a loss. We don't do that. We stick to the same size whether winning or losing. Next, if the bankroll drops big, recalculate the percentage. So if you started with $500 and you've had a really rough stretch and you're down to, let's say, $300 or less, recalculate what your unit size is, and then you can start again and scale down that unit size. And then lastly, you want to cap your daily risk. You never want to lose more than 5 to 10% of your bankroll in a single night. So don't put out more than 5 to 10% of your bankroll, because you always have to prepare for the worst case scenario. And so if you're not putting out, I saw somebody the other day on social media in some betting group, who knows if it's real or not, but regardless, I know people do this. It'll be their first time betting and they'll place $1,000 on a bet, and it's like, do you have $100,000 bankroll? Do you have that much money to play with, or are you just being reckless? So it's just something to think about when you're doing this and how much you have out, because no matter who you are, the best gambler in the world has downturns, and when you have those downturns and you're not using proper bankroll management, you're going to completely blow up your bankroll and not be able to withstand any ups and downs. So make sure you set a real bankroll with money that you can afford to lose. Make one unit 1 to 3% of your bankroll, 5% if you want to be a little riskier. Bet no more than a few units a day. You don't want to go over 10% of your bankroll or more. If you're playing too much of that, I know sometimes on NFL Sundays it can be pretty tempting. I know for me, that's when I feel like I have the most out. So it's just something to think about when you're determining how much you want to put out per day. If this video helped, smash that like button and subscribe if you haven't. Going to be dropping a lot more content on this channel. Here are some more videos to watch. I think they'll really help out, and I will see you in the next one.